Good to see everyone again.
Yeah.
So I'm from California. It was a little chilly for me this morning as I was walking over. Had to get used to that, but it woke me up. And as I was walking, right, people watching, because that's what you do when you're in New York and there's actually people. Whereas, where I'm in San Jose, you're lucky to see someone walking their dog in the morning. A lot of people from different, facets of life. A lot of wonderful smells of food as I was walking down the street as well. And I thought to myself, how representative of a community like Magento, right? Truly diversified, truly international. And I'm sure if we had a cook-off, we'd have some amazing smells of food as well. So anyway, it was a nice brisk walk, and I hope it's a little bit warmer in the sun when I go back. But all of that being said, again, we're happy to be back as Adobe. I'm happy to be here representing Adobe as well for another Meet Magento New York event. Marcia and team and the whole team that was mentioned, again, thank you for organizing a wonderful event. New venue, new experiences. It's going to be fun. From an Adobe perspective, we are excited to continue to participate, keep the momentum in person. We want to not repeat some of the 2020 online, the 21 no event. And so if for the last couple of years that we've been actively participating, it's been fun. And we've been happy from an Adobe perspective. Part of the challenge this year has also been for us, a lot of competitors in the space, a lot of misinformation. And so it's really good to connect with this group of people, with this community, and really, really make sure we amplify the right messages for all of our merchants, for all of our developers and agencies going forward. All right. So today I want to cover 3 areas, and hopefully I don't bore people. And if I see people nodding off, I'll talk faster or skip over sections. But first, I want to talk about the Adobe Commerce Roadmap and some of the exciting things that's been going on in the Adobe space. The second is I want to cover briefly Adobe's entrance and sort of progress in the AI and agentic space because, well, that happened this year. And then lastly, what we're all here to do, celebrate the Magento community. So let me go see if I can do all of this justice and do it in a way that everyone doesn't fall asleep. So the Adobe Commerce Roadmap, basically, we are focused on a couple of areas, and it's really just helping merchants increase sales and deliver productivity. That makes sense. That's probably what one would expect. And we focused into 3 different pillars right around making sure that merchants convert their valuable customers, delivering it in the most efficient way, and in this changing landscape, making sure that businesses can adapt as and when they need going forward. Now, I always like to present this slide because I want people to remember sort of how Adobe Commerce fits into the Adobe Experience Cloud, which is the suite of Adobe products that we look to amplify merchants and businesses and how they expand their brand, basically. And it's organized in 4 different sections, right? And again, there's no test on this, so you don't have to remember them. And it looks like Google Slides totally butchered my PowerPoint. So as long as everyone can figure out which letters connect on which lines, we should be good here. But data, insights, and audiences, content and commerce, customer journeys, and marketing. So those are sort of the 4 areas that Experience Cloud is broken into. And you can see Adobe Commerce obviously fits in the content and commerce section. And it does continue to be an integral part of the Experience Cloud platform, but just to put into a little bit of context. And this is important because going forward, data is one of the foundations for, as we all know, every great customer experience. And in 2026 and on, we're going to focus a little bit more on that and making sure that we can establish real-time data sharing between commerce and the experience platform. So what it means is now you can build and activate audiences in real-time CDP, and these audiences will automatically sync back into commerce for personalized, pricing, promotions, campaigns. Also fits into some of the other analytics and customer experience products as well. So really, what we all generate in in the commerce space, the data, the transactional information, the order information, super valuable, super helpful, and we at Adobe are trying to find ways to re-engage and reactivate that information so it can be used more effectively for merchants. Recently, we made a huge product announcement for us, really, in the commerce space. This happened at Summit. We officially launched over the summer, and in case you haven't heard about it or have questions about it, I'm going to talk a little bit about ACCS, or Adobe Commerce as a Cloud Service, because every product needs I don't know why it was a 4-letter acronym. It's always 3 letters, right? But ACCS in this case. And this is our solution to really push the next generation of where we think commerce should go. Also, what our customers are asking for. So a couple of feedback points we got from customers, right? Simplify getting started on a platform. How do I make it quick? How do I lower my total cost of ownership, right? By making upgrades seamless, patches, that type of stuff. And a lot of our larger customers were having challenges in these particular areas and trying to figure out how we could help with that. And so the idea was born of ACCS, which is a truly SaaS platform, multi-tenant SaaS solution. And it comes with obviously the 2 things I mentioned, but also delivering a high-performance storefront, integrating the digital asset management from Adobe and how we sort of bring some of that stuff in, and App Builder, API Mesh. I'll talk about all of this in a little bit. And we're delivering all of it in a new Exchange marketplace. That brings me to sort of App Builder and why that's important for us too as a technology, and probably important for a lot of folks here in this room. App Builder is what Adobe is now standardizing on for all of its sort of apps for all of the products that we saw across Experience Cloud. So it not only is important for ACCS, but App Builder is also the bridge that will connect, like I said, any of those products around content, data, or journeys. And with App Builder for us, it's decoupled. A lot of larger Adobe customers enjoy that, with a different tech stack, and of course delivered with scalability by being hosted on Adobe infrastructure. This is another view of ACCS, and I promise we only have 1 or 2 slides of ACCS and I'll move on. But it's a good way to sort of envision what we are bringing to market and how we're talking about it to customers. ACCS is not just a commerce foundation or a commerce platform. It is, but you notice that that's only one component sort of down at the bottom. What we've done is we've taken some of the Adobe technologies that have been percolating within and really tried to bundle it together into, like I said, a multi-tenant SaaS solution. So that includes a storefront, if some of you are familiar with the Edge delivery service storefront. We've got a version of that being delivered. We've taken our Gen AI technology and created a transfer from product visuals. So product visuals comes in, and you can really seamlessly integrate that in. Super powerful catalog and catalog policies, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then, of course, App Builder and App Builder Runtime, all included in the package. So, like I said, introduced this summer, launched this summer, a lot of good feedback from customers, more to come. There's really a huge opportunity for folks here to get involved if you would be interested in building some of these App Builder apps and in really helping customers maximize their ACCS journey. And what we've done is we've created some accelerators or starter kits that some folks here have already started working with. A lot of people have already started building out some of these apps, so more to come on that. But that's the direction we're looking at. And I mentioned before that we have a new marketplace for these App Builder apps, and especially for all of the apps that fit across the Experience platform. So the Magento Marketplace, the Adobe Commerce Marketplace has been rebranded. With the extensions, continues to exist. But in addition, we've got the new Exchange Marketplace, which we're now seeding with all of these App Builder apps. And really the timing is right for anyone who's interested in building these App Builder apps. Adobe's investing technical resources, product resources, and education, documentation. And Denisa on my team, which again, we've butchered all of the formatting, but you've got her email there. If anyone is interested in learning more about App Builder, wanting to build an app, right now, if anyone wants to build out an app that's in demand, we're also providing sandboxes and that type of thing for developers. So it's a great opportunity right now. Take advantage of the momentum that's happening if this is something you wanted to do anyway, right? Okay. And then I just want to frame this up in how now this looks in terms of the products that are now available. So, nothing is changing. It's an additive, and you can sort of see a summary here of how some of the variations look between, what we know as Magento versus the PaaS and on-prem solution from Adobe Commerce, and now ACCS. I'm not going to go into details, but it's a good conversation. If you have questions about this, I'm around all day. And just to reiterate, we are continuing to support all the products that are out there. Nothing is going away. Nothing is changing. We are just adding ACCS into the mix for ultimate choice. And you can see by some of these bullet points here that it is a merchant-driven migration or a merchant-driven selection at this point. So there are customers that doesn't make sense for, and that's perfectly fine. There are customers that have been clamoring for this and trying to get us to move in this direction, and those are the ones that that we're focusing on right now. We are working on different migration tools and migration methods as well, and so we're trying to get that sorted out. Now, part one is over. We'll move over to part two, which, as I mentioned, let's talk a little bit about the journey of AI and especially how agentic has sort of formed into it. Like this has become a thing overnight almost, right? I remember last year I had to go into my Google browser to buy stuff, and now apparently people are telling me, or technology is telling me what I want, when I want, and how I want it, which is interesting. And it's just not my opinion. Look at some of those statistics, mind-boggling when I actually saw some of these numbers. And this is internal Adobe data, right? as of July 2025, look at that year-over-year number in terms of AI traffic going to websites. And then, some may wonder, well, I mean, is it valuable traffic or not? Well, look at the other red numbers, right? These are statistics that show these are, possibly serious shoppers, and they're bouncing less, they're purpose-driven, and maybe some of these surfaces are actually filtering out, real shoppers and people with the right level of intent. So it's definitely something that we all need to be cognizant of, concerned about, and how do we react and how do we sort of embrace what is changing. And last year I talked about digital transformation, and now that seems so old. I mean, digital transformation is now agentic transformation. And how do we make sure that, we're able to operate in a new area where we have surfaces that are gone from search engines like old people like me searched with, and now into LLMs, which are having natural language conversations with the shopper and really trying to articulate and summarize and suggest really, really good options. I mean, we've all had our sessions with, a ChatGPT or something like that, and it's really, what's baffling to me is sometimes, right, it's telling me the right questions to ask that I didn't even think of. I was like, oof, that's a good one. That's a good one, me, who's not here. But thank you. And so it's really scary. It's really new, and I think we really should all together sort of work on this. And I'm really excited to have these conversations. I'd love to hear everyone's ideas, see how this is affecting sort of the way you guys have all been operating. But it's something important to look at. And there could be a day we talk about autonomous cars, and now that's a thing. I mean, we're now talking about autonomous buying, right? And it doesn't seem that far-fetched when you can have a vehicle move itself. Why can't you have suggestions and purchases happen? And so that is definitely a disruption area, and it's an area that Adobe is focused on, and one that we're doing as well. In our sort of AI journey, there's 3 areas that we're focused on. One is around discoverability with these LLM friends of ours and other channels, other front-end channels that aren't the typical storefront that we're all used to. And the other one is around merchandising and trying to figure out how do we propagate and populate the right information in the right places so that people can get the right information and make the right decisions. And then obviously working with developers to make sure we continue to enhance this ecosystem, because we can't do it all alone. And I'm not going to get into a lot of detail in each of these. One, because this is sort of forming within Adobe. Like I said, a lot of stuff has changed. We're reacting to where the world is moving to. But in general, one of the areas that we're looking at is activating our commerce catalog to be much more productive. And we're thinking about 3 different areas that the e-commerce catalog can actually play a major role. One is into the LLMs, right? Let's make sure that they get the right information, and if that's the place people are purchasing, well, then that's the place the Commerce Catalog needs to be at. The second is, with the MCP servers. So we're looking to develop MCP servers, so folks like you continue to enhance that solutions with that catalog data. And last but not least, we're also taking some of the AI solutions that we are also creating within Adobe and using that and connecting that back into Commerce Catalog. So some of you may have heard of LLM Optimizer, which is a relatively new Adobe product, which is finding ways to efficiently communicate and organize data for LLMs, and also Brand Concierge, which represents a brand in the right tone and the right level of assets and stuff like that. So different products, but the central theme is all powered by catalog data. On the merchandising side, we're looking again at as the catalog powering distribution to different channels and organizing information for these channels in ways that make sense. Because as we know, the buying surfaces are varied and various, but the type of data they ingest and the format that they ingest it in and the frequency, those are all different. And so trying to figure out how do we make that efficient and in a way that makes sense. Also, now using the power of agents, can we look to become innovative in helping brands expand? So whether that looks like a storefront in a new region in a new language, how quickly can we spin something up based on what we already know? And last but not least, you may have heard of some of the agents that Adobe has already released. This came out a few months ago, and these are ones that this is, by the way, across, this is not commerce specific, but across experience platform. Different agents to help sort of on the customer experience lifecycle. And these are agents that Adobe has created. It was a jump start. We're not in the business of only creating agents, and that's where the call to everyone in this room about, hey, let's figure out how to create some of these agents going forward. And it all comes together on our agent orchestrator platform. So you can see that these are the agents and how they sort of, we're imagining a way where they will then connect with different products and different customer experiences. And these are the Adobe agents, and we would love this white box to become huge and let the developer ecosystem continue to build out those agents. All right. Now, my favorite part of the session and the third area. Let's talk about Magento. But as I always do, oh, I'm so sorry. This slide just got really, really bad. But Titan Rig, a Magento open source customer. They've been a Magento open source customer since 2019, based in Southern California. If anyone is interested in high performance computing, that's Titan Rig for you. High performance, cooling components. I'm not a gamer, but I'm pretty sure that's what they specialize in. And it was cool because they do all of their fulfillment right there, and it's fulfilled through Magento. They've got other channels as well, but slowly they're seeing more of their fulfillment happen. Over 50% come through their Magento platform. And they've got a lean and mean team, like less than 20 people, and they've got a thriving business running on Magento. And I love the quote about a shopping experience limited only by our imagination. I mean, I think it makes sense. They're in Southern California, close enough to Disneyland. I feel like there's a little bit of overlap there, but yeah, it's very inspirational to think that, the shopping experience can only be limited by someone's imagination. But yeah, Titan Rig. It's so, I'm always thrilled to see these type of businesses, to see all the different walks of life that the Magento ecosystem can foster. It's really, really exciting. From an Adobe perspective, we continue to support the Magento ecosystem in a few ways. Like I mentioned, the Adobe Commerce Marketplace, the home of all the extensions, the PHP extensions that we all know and love, continues to exist, over 3,000. Payment services is our solution that we offer as a value-add solution to the Magento open source ecosystem. And what we've been doing really well, I think, spearheaded by Parul, who couldn't attend this time, and her team, is really the community outreach in terms of newsletters, events like this that we're putting on, and just constant communication. Payment services is near and dear to my heart, so just bear with me for 20 seconds. But It's been an exciting journey on payments and trying to integrate it not only with the open source community, but also with ACCS, our new offering. So it's turnkey now, built in to all of our solutions. We also just released a PayPal's fast lane accelerated checkout. So that's been received really, really well by customers because that allows you to quickly make the purchase. Now imagine a world where you've got an agent suggesting items and a fast lane type of purchase, just purchasing, you put them together, and I believe that's magic that's just waiting to happen. I always want to make sure that I spend some time reminding everyone that, again, and Marcia did a good job, like this is our community. Everything can't get done without help from folks like yourselves in this room and others that aren't here. And you know, while Adobe is working towards sort of as a steward of the code base, the actual work gets done by folks in this room. And we've done a really good job together, really prioritizing you know, pull requests and issues that are there and try to get them merged into the code base. We've increased the velocity, so that's been good. But we definitely need more help. We need more folks to contribute. And it's working though, right? We introduced, you know, a couple of years ago, maybe over 3 years ago, this process of, you know, putting the thumbs up, and we've been moving that and using that as a prioritization method for us. You can see some of our key contributors in September. This came out of a newsletter that Parol's team publishes. And since we, you know, kicked off this whole effort, we've had a lot of activity in terms of merged PRs or ones that are closed. Like those are pretty big numbers, and I'm super excited about the progress we've made. But hey, we could do more. Get your friends involved, figure it out. Laura on the Magento Association is helping to sort of recruit and spearhead. Reach out to her, get involved, try it out. It'll be fun, really. So I want to close this portion of it by saying again, you know, it's a truly unique ecosystem that we have. It's this open source thing. It's funny because when I try to explain to folks, especially partners, you know, that want to partner with Adobe Commerce, the whole open source concept sometimes is really hard to navigate and to explain to folks. But that is I think the uniqueness and the strength that we have. That's what brings everyone together. That's what allows international events to happen. And that's what allows our merchants to thrive, prosper, and build livelihoods for their families and their communities as well. It's really, really an exciting movement. You know, we've been doing it in New York, I guess, somewhere between 16 and 18 years now. We're still figuring out how the math works, but long enough to know that it definitely, it's lasting, and we should continue to invest and make it last. So again, thank you everyone for being here. But wait, I am not done. Can we flip to the next one? I also get the privilege this time, I don't know how I won the lottery on this, of presenting the Magento Association, of which now, I was doing a little bit of math myself. I've been a part of that Magento Association board through Adobe for over 3 years now. Barely could spell Magento at that point. And I know when I first came to my first Meet Magento events, a lot of you were like, who is this character? But it's been great. Thank you for embracing me. And I want to spend a few minutes talking about Magento Association and how everyone should be involved in Magento Association. If you haven't. Here we go. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So again, some words here, pretty generic, but like, you know, this is known to all of us, right? And this is what I just talked about. It's a community. It's a platform, and we're, as Marsha mentioned also, yes, we can look at the past, and we should celebrate everything that we've done. We can look at the present, because that's where we live, but more importantly, let's plan for the future. And like I said, open source is super unique. Wow, this slide has got a lot of build out. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, clearly this wasn't planned, but as I click my thing, I will talk. You know, the open source circle that you see here is a collaboration, definitely, between Adobe and Magento Association is the organization that helps to sort of bring us all together as we navigate the community, the open source, and the future. And you can see the Magento Association is involved in a lot of administrative areas, events like this one, and other marketing and visibility across the whole ecosystem. And the main thing to get from here is the Magento Association is not a directive, and it's not something which is like, hey, this is how we should be doing things, but it's really a body and a voice for all of us here in this room in order to express and consolidate on how we want to drive the Magento community going forward. And so those are key words: alignment, structure, strategy. And again, it's an elected board, right? You could also be a volunteer on the board as well. Get involved with one of the committees and really help move it forward in a way. And this year, there's been a lot of emphasis on a lot of work behind the scenes, you know, being put forward by a lot of board members and other volunteers that are on the committees. I mean, look at some of these things that we're going to start to see over the course of the year now. Showcase for agencies, some success stories of merchants, which is super exciting to me. Places where, you know, the community is contributing, and of course, continued events like Meet Magento and other events globally. And I've already sort of done the sales pitch, but this slide summarizes it very, very well, that, you know, this is your nonprofit association, the Magento Association, and as we continue to go into the future, this is the way we're going to do it, aligning together, and spend some time. Like, if you have an opinion, if you have a voice, this is the forum to do it in. Get involved. It doesn't take that long. You can contribute as much as or as little as you want, and meet some new friends in the process. So this is the URL to become a member if you haven't, which everyone should already be a member. So this is a useless URL, right, for everyone in this room. But if you have not been, please consider becoming a member. If you've got a company, consider sponsoring, and most importantly, consider volunteering. Now, I am officially done. Thank you for putting up with me for so long. I appreciate it.